Hey Bible lovers, I'm Tim Nichols and I'm here to bring you your Nichols Worth, and today we are featuring from Zondervan the Nrsv and the NKJV Cultural Background Study Bibles. Now, one of the reasons I love these study Bibles so much is because they don't have your run-of-the-mill translation study Bible to where it's basically interpreting each verse in light of whoever put together that study Bible, but it really kind of gives you a different angle. This would probably be one I would consider to be a good companion to your favorite translation study Bible. Mine happens to be the ESV study Bible, which is my favorite translation study Bible, but this is definitely useful and one of the best tools that I have put my hands on. So let's take a quick look at them. This is the Nrsv. This is the NKJV. They also have it in the NIV if that's your preferred translation. Now, this is a previous edition and previous release of this. I don't believe it's available anymore in the bonded leather. This is actually a very nice bonded leather cover. Has a really nice spine, but as you can see, they tend to concave in like that whenever you have a really thick Bible and it doesn't have that hard Oxford hollow. I did put these ribbons in myself. So now let's just take a quick look at the layout. Okay, so this is page 746. So let's turn to page 746 in both of the Bibles that we have. And you will notice that these two are exactly the same. There is absolutely no difference between the two. But the Nrsv is going to be set up a little bit different because King James has a few more words, and the setup of the wording is a little different. So when you get to 746 in this one, you're going to see that it's going to be pretty much in a different spot in the Bible. So let's talk about layout real quick. Okay, it is a center column reference, and they kind of have them beiged out to really make them pop. It has your commentary on the bottom. This looks to be about a 9-point font. I couldn't get confirmation on that. But one thing I was really surprised on is that the NKJV does not have the updated comfort print. So if you're not a fan of the comfort print, this is definitely the way to go for you because the comfort print is not in there. Another thing is it does go deep into that gutter because there's a lot of information here. But if you go with the Nrsv, you will notice that it does have the updated comfort print. And this is one of my favorite comfort prints. Now you will notice in this Bible that it does not have your typical articles and your typical ways of explaining verses, but it's going to take you back to the times and places. It's going to pull in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's going to pull in the Septuagint, it's going to pull in the Ugaritic text and the Mesopotamian text, the Babylonian text, and all these different ones. As a matter of fact, let me show you an example of this in the beginning of this Bible. 5 minutes is not going to be adequate time to really be able to cover this. So if you have any questions about it, I have used this pretty extensively. I am very familiar with this Bible. It gives you its authors and writers. But then as you get into kind of the layout and the lay of the land and how this works, first of all, it gives you a Hebrew to English translation chart. And it's going to be also in your Nrsv and your NIV, where it gives you the Hebrew letters and it gives you kind of their pronunciation and key verses in which they are said. So it kind of gives you an idea of the culture and the time and the language of the Hebrew people, but it doesn't stop there. This is probably one of my favorite features. And what it does is it tells you many of the ancient texts that they use in this Bible to explain the surrounding cultures. For example, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls, we have the Cyrus cylinder, they have Egyptian, they have Babylonian, they have all sorts of surrounding cultures, 3 pages of different ancient text. And you can see some of them are on cylinders, some of them are on tablets, some of them are on scrolls. There are poems and different things that have similarities to Psalms and all sorts of different things. They have the Epic of Gilgamesh that kind of has a flood narrative in it. And then it has an Old Testament chronology where it takes you from creation all the way through history, color-coded through the different things that are going on. Moving into the Old Testament, it gives you major background issues from the Near East. It talks about the different nations' beliefs in the afterlife and how they handle death. This thing is just absolutely loaded with information, all kinds of articles. For example, maybe you all know this as the kind of Egyptian pantheon of gods, and it has the sky god that covers, the ground god, and it explains kind of how this would have shaped how the Israelites responded to the Egyptians, and even how God overthrew these gods. This thing is just awesome. You just have to trust me. There is so much information. What's beautiful about the commentary is the commentary doesn't focus so much on explaining the verse, but explaining the surrounding context of the people of Israel. Even getting into the New Testament, you will see all sorts of information. Now, the red letters on this are not very good. That's how you can tell this is definitely not the comfort print. So that is going to be a weakness. But again, this is only $30. And it shows you different surrounding cultures. Like, look, the Shroud of Turin is in here. And it explains that, explains the controversy. This thing has it all. It covers pretty much anything you would want it to cover, and I absolutely love it. And it comes in 3 different translations. So that's the great thing about it not being a translation study Bible, is that it can go through NIV, NRSV, NKJV. This thing is amazing. I would call it my favorite study Bible, but it doesn't do what I want a study Bible to do all the time. But it's definitely my favorite study Bible of its type, a non-translation study Bible. So there you have it. Keep calm. Jesus on. This is your Nicholsworth.